The Marvel Cinematic Universe has always been home to intimidating villains, but over the course of the last two phases and the introduction of Phase 5, the threats have had to become more and more powerful as our heroes continually defeated any and all enemies who threatened to destroy everything they cared about. In today's video, we will be breaking down the 10 most powerful villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe thus far. While this list will certainly be controversial, we will do our best to explain the reasoning for each placement as well as we can, but just be aware we won't be able to list every single reason a character is where they are. If you'd like more detailed breakdowns, please check out the individual videos for some of the characters which I've already uploaded, and if you'd like a breakdown for any of the characters here that don't have specific videos, let me know down in the comments. But before I begin, I'd like to give a shout out to TheChadChamp who helped tremendously with this video. His information will be linked down below in the description. First, I'd like to go over a couple of honorable mentions, those being Ikaris, Namor, and Amit. Ikaris and Namor are sort of in the same boat. I wouldn't really consider them villains, and Amit is sort of hard to scale. If we use some hypotheticals, we could get her around number 5 on this list, but it's not very consistent, so we'll just leave her off for now. At number 10, we have the most recent nefarious ne'er-do-well attempting to destroy the Asgardians, Gorr, the God Butcher. Gorr's claim to fame is the Necrosword, which allows him to kill gods who would typically be immortal. The gods within the universe are really more scared of the Necrosword than anything. However, Gorr is more than just his infamous weapon. He can bend shadows to his will, allowing him to teleport through them, slinking away to attack from the shade. He can also conjure and control shadow monsters, each of which give the standard Asgardian trouble in a fight. However, he's most powerful within his shadow realm. There, he is able to take on Thor, the mighty Thor, and Valkyrie wielding Zeus's Thunderbolt simultaneously. Just above Gorr is a controversial pick, and that is Hela. While Taika Waititi stated that Gorr is more formidable than Hela, I'm not sure the feats support that statement, even if he is talking about raw power, which is questionable. The first time we see Hela, she is able to crush Mjolnir into pieces, and keep in mind that Uru is the strongest known metal within the MCU, and Hela would have been at her weakest we've ever seen her after just escaping Hell. Hela draws her power from Asgard, and as soon as she escapes Hell, she begins siphoning that power from her homeland. On Asgard, this power grows exponentially, and she would eventually become too much for anyone to contend with if left to her own devices. When at full strength in her battle against her father, she proved to be more powerful than him, and he was forced to use magic to banish her. While Thor is slightly more powerful in Thor Love and Thunder than he was in Ragnarok, the gap isn't wide enough to make up for the one between himself and his sister, not to mention his new weapon would be even more worthless than Mjolnir against her, as it is also made of Uru with no special enchantments other than it can counter the Infinity Gauntlet. Hela, at her normal power level, would easily be able to destroy this weapon as well, while Gorr amped in his Shadow Realm couldn't in an extended clash with Stormbreaker. And in the final battle, the Necrosword was destroyed by Mjolnir, again something Hela broke into bits in her weakest state. While Thor was able to stab her with Gungnir, Odin's Uru spear, she could block attacks from it with her gauntlets. The only reason Thor was even left alive long enough to damage Hela was because she willed it. Thor represented everything Hela despised about her father. He even looked like him. So Hela in her hubris took her time torturing Thor, when realistically she could have ended him at any time. Even Thor's most powerful lightning strike ever did almost nothing to her. Her carelessness and overconfidence is displayed during her battle against Asgard's army, who in reality should be cannon fodder to her, but one of them is able to land a hit because she knows they can do nothing to her. In a fight with Gorr, she would know of the Necrosword, every god in the universe knows of it, and wouldn't take Gorr lightly. She should be more skilled than Gorr, after all, she was able to kill every single Valkyrie easily, which are Odin's most skilled warriors. She was able to embarrass Thor, and again, Asgard's entire army. She'd know not to take Gorr lightly, and she would dispose of him pretty easily, at least in our opinion. The next entry is one that should be pretty obvious, Surtur, the King of Muspelheim. Not much to say here. Thor knew he had no hope of defeating Hela, so he invoked the power of Surtur to do it for him. With his eternal flame, Surtur becomes much more powerful than the version that Thor fought at the beginning of the film, and even then Thor had to throw a full-powered strike at a weakened Surtur just to defeat him. Hela going all out for the first time couldn't stop Surtur, and Hulk was nothing more than a mere inconvenience. The only being to defeat Surtur at full power was Odin, and again, he likely used magic in this instance as well, because Surtur would be more powerful than Hela, who's more powerful than Odin, so Odin would have to use some fun trickery to dispose of the king of Muspelheim. Just above Surtur, we reach our first non-Thor villain with Ronan. Now, before you start clacking away at your keyboards, take a break from that thesis you just wrote on why Gorr would actually beat Hela and hear me out. This is Ronan with the Power Stone specifically. I do have a video on Ronan because I think he's one of the most downplayed characters in the MCU, but he is empowered by the Power Stone, unlike Thanos or Hulk or Iron Man or anyone else who's used it. Due to this, his eyes glow with an ethereal purple, and his physical stats are amped to insane levels. His durability is so high that he can no-sell an attack from the Hadron Enforcer, a weapon with enough firepower to obliterate moons. Obviously, with the Power Stone, he has access to planet-busting power, and possibly even higher, as the Power Stone is the most powerful Infinity Stone in terms of pure energy output. It was the one which amplified the others to universe-destroying power, and the upper limits of the Power Stone could be argued to be far above star level. Ronan is also incredibly skilled. As an elite accuser, he was trained to become one of the most formidable fighters within the Kree army, so in terms of skill, he'd far exceed the likes of Carol Danvers, Jan Rog, Korath, really anyone we'd seen during the Kree and Skrull wars. We also know how he was able to dispatch the mighty Drax without so much as a second glance. Drax was one of the most infamous murderers in the galaxy, and Ronan didn't give him a second thought. While Ronan lost in a goofy way to the Guardians of the Galaxy, he shouldn't be dismissed as weak, especially not with the Power Stone. At number 6, we have Arishem/Ego, basically a spot for the Celestials. If you don't consider Arishem a villain, that's fine. Ego certainly is and should be on the level of the other Celestials in terms of power, not to mention Eson the Searcher, who life-wiped an entire planet with the Power Stone long after he emerged. Each Celestial, other than Arishem and Ego, are born through an emergence where they incubate within a planet until enough energy is absorbed, and at that time, the Celestial will burst through the planet, destroying it and everything on it. However, we also see that each Celestial is capable of creating stars, so each at a baseline would be star level. However, Arishem could be argued to be even higher, as there are statements that imply he was around for the Big Bang, but I think it's safer to say each is at least star level. So getting into the top 5, we're reaching the real heavy hitters, and this is going to be more of an argument of who would win rather than outright power, but each would easily defeat those listed below. And at number 5, we have Thanos with the full Infinity Gauntlet. Not only does he have access to each of the individual stones, which give him the ability to manipulate the minds of his opponents, manipulate space, time, and even reality itself, with the combined might of the stones, Thanos claims he can tear the universe down to its atoms and rebuild it brick by brick into a universe of his liking. I think it's fairly obvious that with access to each and every Infinity Stone, Thanos is more than a match for any character listed below. However, there are arguments he could even defeat some listed above, the first of those being, and coming in at number 4, the Scarlet Witch. The Scarlet Witch herself is basically a walking Infinity Gauntlet. As with Thanos, she can manipulate reality at a molecular level, she can mess with the minds of her enemies, she can fire blasts of incredibly potent magical energy, cast numerous hexes, she has access to probability-altering magic, she can instill fear with a word, etc., etc. The list of her abilities is almost never-ending, but she is also a powerhouse, more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, prophesied to destroy the world. She could destroy the cosmos or even rule the multiverse if she got her hands on America Chavez's power, the power to travel the multiverse, which wouldn't even make her more powerful, it would just be a tool used to travel. I'm sorry, but I don't think Thanos could accomplish such a feat even if he could hop realities. Even a weaker version of herself, which couldn't access the full might of the Scarlet Witch, still took down the Illuminati, who had a Captain Marvel, a character Thanos struggled against and needed the Power Stone to even get off of him. Thanos also has limitations that the Scarlet Witch simply doesn't. He has to either close his fist or snap his fingers to use the Infinity Stones, while Wanda, with a thought, could do anything she wanted. If she created a hex around Thanos, she could even have more power, as she's able to control time within her hex. Wanda is absolutely insane, and I think she would be more than enough to take down Thanos. Getting into the top 3, these characters are without a doubt the strongest in terms of their ability to destroy. At 3 is a shared spot between Kang and himself, He Who Remains. Kang, with the power of his multiverse engine-empowered chair, can wipe away timelines at a whim. Janet Van Dyne sees into the mind of Kang the Conqueror, where it was revealed to her that he not only could destroy timelines, but multiple timelines simultaneously, which is blatantly more impressive than Thanos' claim that he could tear the universe down to its atoms, as he would not be destroying the space and time within the universe, just the physical objects within it. He Who Remains, while wielding the power of Alioth, can accomplish the same feat, purging entire timelines. With his advanced Tempad, he can easily summon Alioth at a whim, or even utilize a canister containing a fraction of Alioth's power, which could also eliminate an entire timeline. So Alioth itself is likely far beyond the level of timeline erasure. Not to mention he has tech that completely nullifies the power of the Infinity Stones. Kang has become underrated due to Marvel's mishandling of the character thus far, as He Who Remains allowed himself to lose, and Kang the Conqueror was bested by ants. Super advanced future ants, but ants nonetheless. At number 2 is the Cosmic Conqueror, the Dark One, the Destroyer of Worlds, Dormammu. Dormammu is a fun character to discuss, as everyone else on the list is late Phase 3 to Phase 5 characters, while Dormammu has been around since Phase 2, but is still one of the most powerful beings within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. His dark dimension existed before time, and time does not exist there. Dormammu has absorbed multiple spacetimes into his dark dimension and rules a multiversal structure, making Dormammu a multiverse-level threat. Agamotto and the Sorcerers have been working tirelessly for a millennia to prevent Dormammu from absorbing their reality, and not even Kang has come up with a permanent solution to rid the sacred timeline of the cosmic horror that is Dormammu. Eventually, enough time will pass, and the world will forget about Dormammu, and he will return and consume all. And at number 1 is Infinity Ultron. Ultron, with the body of Vision and each Infinity Stone, is a being of a higher consciousness who wields the stones to their full capabilities, something Thanos never even got close to accomplishing. After empowering himself, he was able to break through the walls of reality and free himself from the shackles of his own universe to do battle with the Watcher, a higher dimensional being who has the ability to repair space-times and would be at the level of Alioth, for example. Infinity Ultron would be able to defeat the Watcher in a battle, and in doing so, literally punched across the multiverse, turning multiple realities into a quote-unquote messy universe soup. So Ultron is extremely powerful, but considering he can wield the stones with expertise unlike anything we've ever seen before, he becomes even more of a threat than Thanos, the Scarlet Witch, or even Kang. I guess you could argue that Scarlet Witch may be able to defeat Infinity Ultron, as if she ever got the power of America Chavez, she would rule the multiverse as Ultron planned to do. However, I think Ultron gets the nod here, as the Watcher was forced to get involved, which he does not with the Scarlet Witch. Additionally, the Watcher, who has seen everything that has ever happened, ever will happen, or ever could happen, said that he could not imagine the horrors that might follow if Ultron is unleashed upon the multiverse. Again, someone who's seen everything there is to see within the entire multiverse, everything Kang has wrought, Dormammu, Thanos, etc., could not even imagine the horrors Ultron would unleash if he won. So for that reason, Infinity Ultron is our pick for the most powerful villain within the Marvel Cinematic universe. But what do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know down in the comments, but let's try to keep it civil. Thanks again to TheChadChamp for his help with this video. It would not nearly be as thorough without him, so check out his channel and tell him Garrick from Key Issues sent you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and please remember the motto, it's Marvel Cinematic Universe villains over everything, and I'll see you guys next time.